Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed away serving the Lord, the dead in Yahushai shall arise first. All right, with me I have Satan's Angels Exposed book that we brought out at camp on Saturday. This book is heavy, man. If you in the truth, it got bones in it. There's no, I even read one, by mistake on Saturday. It got bones in it, but it's pretty on point, with a lot of information that it brings out. So you just have to, of course, use your judgment in seeing what's a bone and what's righteous. But I'm gonna just, go into, I want to, the brother Yavasab has a witch hunter series, you know what I'm saying, and this is good information, for the witch hunting. This goes into history of witches. So one thing that I highlighted says there is no such thing as a good witch, because you have people that say, oh well, witches that use their powers to help people are good witches. No, they're not. There's a saying, the ends justify the means. The ends, meaning the result, doesn't always justify the way you got there. If you do wickedness to get a good result, it doesn't justify the wickedness you did to get the good result. It is interesting to note that the expression translated witchcraft in Galatians 5:20, pharmakia, literally denotes the act of administering drugs and giving of magical potions. Because that's what it is. All these fucking drugs and all the things you get in the pharmacy, 90% of them are pure salat. My bad. Music louder than I thought. The act of when you go to the pharmacy, a lot of that stuff is all evil, man. A lot of that stuff is witchcraft. When you're taking those potions or those pills, which actually, and all of them almost all of them have side effects. They don't get you better. But the doctors, the FDA, the hospitals, those are all sorcerers and witches. Not all. I mean, listen, you got people that really deal with natural herbs and medicine. But then you got those people in those doctors that prescribe drugs, and these things are not actually good for your body. Witchcraft had its origins in Babylonian and Assyrian cultures and absorbed their belief in demons and mysticism. In Babylon, there were 53 temples of the great gods, 55 shrines dedicated to Marduk, the chief god of the sun, plus hundreds of other shrines. There were 80 altars alone to the goddess Ishtar, the goddess of love and fertility. And what are we dealing with nowadays? You got a lot of people with failed relationships and a lot of people out here doing all this bullshit, looking for love and shit. So we're in a culture that would practice idolatry. It's not far-fetched. And that's why we don't celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, because all of these are an extension of Babylonian culture. Even though, I never read about an actual counterpart for these days in Babylonian culture. There is, February 14th is a ancient, I believe it's Lupercalia. So all these things are doing the same thing that Christianity did in the 7th century AD with compromising, actually 4th century, with compromising its own beliefs to appease people that are pagan, right? So it says, the Babylonians, remembered for their Tower of Babel, practiced fortune telling and astrology, as well as magic and casting spells. So scriptures say, learn not the way of the heathen. This witchcraft is the way of the heathen. So it says, witchcraft as we know it today became again popular in the 13th century AD. From the 1200s to well into the 18th century, church and state joined hands to torture and burn witches. Okay, and this is why there was a separation of church and state. You know, to allow witches to do what the, you know, to weaken the force against the witches and witchcraft. Near the end of the 17th century, 55 persons suffered by torture and 20 were put to death in Salem, Massachusetts. In medieval times, a witch was considered to be one who had sold her soul to Satan in exchange for magical powers. Her or him, because you had males doing witchcraft too. Medieval illustrations generally picture the witch as naked and flying through the air on broom handles, generally leaving the house through the chimney. In their superstitions, witches met before the throne of Satan, who was a goat. So that's where you get into Baphomet. They were then stripped of their clothes to imitate the nudity of Adam and Eve, because witches love being naked. You know, even though this naked, the nudity of Adam and Eve is not literal. But anyway, it is said that in France alone, under the reign of Charles IX, there were over 100,000 witches. In France alone. Much of the Black Book of Sorcery attempts to tie in Solomon with its rites. Because Solomon comes in a lot with the, you know, when you talk about witchcraft and masonry. And the reason why is because, you know, he had all that wisdom and, you know, he knew witchcraft. Doesn't mean he practiced it. I mean, later on when he built his altars to his, you know, to his pagan wives, you know what I'm saying? That's a different story. But, you know, they try to tie into Solomon, you know, like as if before his fall from grace, you know, like he was evil then, you know, but that's not the case. It is interesting that both Islam and Freemasonry also tie in with Solomon. The circle is talking about the circle that they, you know, where they draw with the demons and shit, like ASAP Rocky did in that video. The circle must be 9 feet in diameter. It must be traced with a consecrated knife and shall make 4 pentacles, 5-pointed stars, with the name of the creator. In European folklore, the 2 annual occasions when witches met are April 30th, which just passed, and October 31st, Halloween. A coven is a group of 6 male and 6 female witches with a high priest or priestess. They meet monthly at the time of the full moon. They also meet at 8 other occasions they call Sabbats, the witches' Sabbath. Okay, so the full moon is a high witchcraft day. So that don't let nobody tell you that the month begins at the new moon, at the full moon rather, right? The New York Times described the Halloween Sabbath as at the home of Raymond Buckland, a Britisher with a PhD in anthropology. He was one time head of the Department of Anthropology at Columbia University. First, the witches remove their clothes, bathe in salt water to purify themselves. You know, that's just a description of a ritual that they do. All right, moving on. Those who practice black magic usually declare openly that they are serving the devil. In Europe, much of black magic witchcraft comes from the 6th and 7th books of Moses. False magic type books. There's only 5 books of Moses, which they allege were written by Moses. To possess these books is supposedly to possess the power of Lucifer. Now, when you deal with Satan worship, you look at Lucifer as the great liberator of man. You know, you feel that, you know, the Most High was trying to somehow keep man ignorant, and Lucifer was the one that opened them up to this knowledge, when the Most High was really just trying to keep us away from evil. Because doing evil things and being evil is lawlessness. So witchcraft is lawlessness. Those who practice white magic declare that they invoke the name of God, not Satan, and they use biblical phrases. But you're still doing witchcraft. Because you got witches out there that really mean well. You know, I don't think that if you really look at a lot of the regular witches, and I'm talking about the Joe Schmoes, not the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, but the regular witches that live in regular houses and live regular lives, I don't think that any of them intend to do evil. They think that they're really doing good, but they're not. You know, and the thing is that the fact that they're doing evil, you know, and think that they're doing the right thing is in and of itself, it makes them dangerous. That's why there's such a necessity to kill them. When the scriptures say, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," like you know, according to scriptures, you know, now we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And I do not urge anyone to commit. In fact, don't do it. Don't commit no acts of violence towards somebody committing witchcraft. They're gonna, the Heavenly Father's gonna punish them. You know, our job is just to bring out the word and let them know. All right. So moving on. Modern witches refer to their religion as Wicca, the feminine form of an old English word which means witch. Wicca draws its membership primarily from the lower, middle, and middle class people. So, poor people, you know, poor people are the best recruits for any religion, you know, because they're looking for something. They're looking for God. They're looking for a divine explanation as to, you know, why they're poor. Why do I see these people and they're rich and famous and powerful? You know, rich, famous, and powerful. And that's why they get to make movies and make music and do witchcraft and sorcery. And they don't tell you they're doing it, but they put it in the message, in the music, in the movies. You know, so moving on. Salat. In Wicca, there are both female and male members of the cult. But the cult is mainly governed by the high priestess. So you see how Satan does things opposite of the Most High, you know? She is referred to as the Queen of Heaven, and her symbols are the moon and the stars. You know, because the sun represents the man, the moon represents women, and the stars represent the children. Wicca is basically a fertility cult. Witch theology attempts to point out that Yahushua and his 12 disciples had an ideal coven with the Virgin Mary as high priestess. That's pure bullshit. See, but you know what it is? And this is what they do. They try to use aspects of the truth to push their shit. But listen, it's 12 disciples was all men. You know, but anyway, a girdle consisting of 3 cords and a black handle knife called athame is common to all members of a coven. All right, let's see. It is estimated that in Great Britain that at least 1 in every 20 persons has some relation with the occult world in one form or the other. In the Ozark Hill country of the United States, the ceremony of initiating a witch ends with the recitation of the Lord's Prayer backwards. So it's a pure disrespect to the Most High. Pure disrespect. The Greek word gnosis means nose. The Gnostic was not God-centered, but rather self-centered. Gnostics were very prevalent in the 2nd century. They claimed to know the great secrets of religion and life. So that's why you have to be careful of things that you read, Israel, you know, because, like, for example, the Kabbalah is witchcraft. Jewish mysticism, which is witchcraft. You have to be very careful. You know, and the way they try to get you, you know, Israelites into it is that they'll be like, oh, y'all believe in that Moses split the Red Sea, you know, by doing a ritual, you know, which is just, you know, opening his arms. Y'all believe sacrificing animals and this, that, and the third. Then they try to say that because you believe in these things, you actually believe in witchcraft, which is not the case. You know, where are these things in witchcraft? Point out to me where Moses actually had to do a ritual, you know, to do witchcraft to part the Red Sea. You know, it says Satanists, Salat. They claim to know, okay, Satanists believe that God is evil and the enemy of Satan whose evil is good. They believe that the Prince of Darkness is the true Lord of Light, Lucifer, the light bearer. When the light bearer actually bows down and serves the Most High. In April 1966, the Church of Satan formally incorporated in San Francisco. Anton Szandor LaVey was the founder and high priest. It had been said that he has some 7,000 members, including a number of celebrities. All right, so, I went through this whole thing just to show you the history of witchcraft. Some of the history. I mean, there's a lot more. But, let's kill all the bullshit. If it's not of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, it's evil. Don't get into none of these religions. Don't get into witchcraft. Pick up this book, Satan's Angels Exposed. This is very, very key book. It goes into a lot of, the witchcraft, the Illuminati. It proves that, it goes into how the elite banking families, have established, global control. It's a great book. Like I said, there's bones to it, though. So always be cognizant of that. But with that, I'm going to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed away serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. Shalom.